No. I'm just gonna keep looking at it for a bit if that's cool. Hello, it's Andrew from Time+Tide. Today we're talking about the new TAG Heuer Autavia dual time three-hander, which is on my wrist and somewhat preoccupying me. Sorry about that, guys. I keep saying action. I'm just sitting here staring at my watch, which is what I should be doing because I love them. And this one's interesting. This is one of 3 new Autavia models to be released by TAG Heuer today. And having had this on my wrist for a little while, I'm warming to it. It's not my favorite of the 3 because, like I've said many times before, for me, the Autavia is about chronographs. However, like the Carrera, we can use that as a platform to launch other watches. And this is probably the first non-chronograph Autavia that I've actually warmed to at all because I just can't get out of my head the Autavia. It's the first chronograph that Heuer ever released. It was the first watch that Jack Heuer ever released. And it really is such a part of the Heuer automotive and motorsports story. I want to see chronographs. However, I'm not going to quibble over that right now because we're reviewing this one, which is, I would have to say, if it isn't a chronograph for me, make it a dual time. And that's what TAG's done with the dual time three-hander. It's the first time they've ever done a dual time function with the three-hander. So I'm happy about that. And I'm also, honestly, I'm pretty happy about the way this has come together. I have owned many GMTs and dual time watches over the years. Most famously, I think probably my Batman, the BLNR Rolex, which has the same black and blue color scheme. So I'm right in the pocket of a buyer for a watch like this. Okay, so let's talk about the specs of this watch. You can see it sitting there on my wrist. I have a 7-inch wrist. Now this is a 42mm watch. It is 13.7mm thick, so it's not thin by any means, but it is not the 16mm height of the chronograph Autavias, which are really large on the wrist. We have a 50.6mm lug to lug, which you can see on my 7-inch wrist, leaves a little room on either side of the case. And powering the watch is the TAG Heuer Caliber 7, which is a Solita SW300 dual time zone movement, which has been spec'd up by TAG Heuer to COSC certification. So overall, we have a very wearable watch here at 42mm, 13.6 and a 50.6 lug to lug. And we have a nice weight on the wrist. Now the oversized and knurled crown is a bit of a nod to the heritage of the watch as a both automobile and aviation watch, and you really need to be able to manipulate this crown with gloves. And we have a date complication at 6 for those practically minded people, of which I'm not one. My date is always wrong, as we know. Aesthetically, we have a brushed, I would say a midnight blue dial. It's a sunray finishing to that metallic dial. We have a nice polished handset with an orange dual time zone hand. And we have Autavia written in orange on the dial. So we have a nice pop of color on the dial. As I mentioned earlier, the bezel is in blue and black. It is a ceramic bezel. It's quite a slim bezel with I think the heritage typeface of the numerals is quite interesting. It's quite a subtle and again, a slight nod to the heritage of the watch. And we have that TAG Heuer logo at 12, which after the re-releases in 2017 are no longer just Heuer. We have TAG Heuer, which continues on from the 2019 models. So there you have it. I think this is a watch that is gonna have to work its hardest to win me over within this collection, simply because, again, I associate Autavia with some of the most important chronograph movements ever made and watches ever seen on wrists. So it's done a pretty good job. It's a package that's going to appeal to many people, and I look forward to hearing what you think below. Also look out for the 2 reviews of the chronograph models, one in the stealthy blacked out aviation style and one in that Siffert Panda style. They will be, no doubt, somewhere around. Thanks for watching and see you soon.